Oh, okay. So I did this video last time, and when I got done, I got a whole bunch of people that were telling me. They said, "Look, Sam, we didn't get what you said. Like we didn't hear nothing that you said." And the reason why I wanted to do this was because I knew that a lot of people. I feel weird with the bottom. I knew that getting the CDL was a big thing, but before I jump into the CDL, I wanted to talk about how to get the CDL, some worries about CDL, and that kind of thing, and things you might want to know about before you get your CDL. um, Number one is you got a couple of choices that you can to get your CDL. A lot of people they go to a truck driving school, no, or like that's a company that has their own truck driving school. Like let's say like Swift and all them other big names, they're gonna have a truck driving school, and you go to that truck driving school, and they'll send you through a class, and they're gonna pay you while you go through the school. You get your CDL, um, and you work for them for a year, usually a year. After a year, you go out and you work somewhere else. Okay, so these big regional people, they're able to basically let you do that because they just got the money to shell out for the insurance. It's cheaper to hire somebody that has a year experience, but you can get around that. I'm gonna tell you why later on. Basically, it's there's people they got the hookup. Okay, so the first thing you need to do before you get your CDL, you need to go to the DPS and you need to get a book. You need to get the book. It's a commercial driving book. It's a commercial hand driving books. There's certain things you got to be able to take. At our time, basically our trucks, most all of them are standard in the air brakes. So that means you're gonna have to not standard, I mean automatic. But you want to get your standard if you can. Go on and get the standard if you can. So I'm gonna jump into it. So you're gonna have general knowledge. You're gonna have air brakes. You're gonna have and some specialty somethings and combination vehicles. I think I might have just already said that. But what you're going to do is you're going to get that book, and basically, when you go to the DPS, they'll tell you what everything the tests you got to take. So it ain't the hard part. Just ask like what do you need to take. But before you even go to a truck driving school, go head on and read the book and understand the book. Next thing you're going to do is go to the library, get your cell phone, get your laptop, get your computer, whatever, and go take the practice tests. The ones that have the drop when you go on right here on YouTube, when you first go on there, there's gonna be ones with a Texas driver's license, whatever state you're in or whatever you're gonna want to go to. But really, tell you the truth, it's all the same. But I'm gonna tell you the truth, each examiner is probably gonna be a little bit different. So the first thing you need to do is go take those tests at the DMV. They're gonna be like $10 each. There's some things you need to know with your CDL, your drinking days, like going to go get drunk, like and or something like that. Them days are pretty much gone unless you're gonna be off your truck for a week or something like that. Because they can blow if let's say let's say you go to the bar. The truck drivers do it all the time. So it's a truck driving place right down the street. You go there. It's a bar. It's also a diner. You go off in there, and they're gonna cook you some food or whatever like that, and you drink some beer. You go back to your truck and go to sleep. You wake up in the morning, you go drive that truck. You better make sure all that alcohol is gone out of your system. If not, you can blow anything. You're done. Like you just can't. So that's number one. So if you're trying to party, I've seen people with their truck driver's license smoke weed, like all kind of craziness. But I'm trying to tell you, if you lose your life, let's say if you get caught doing it, all that, like first they're gonna tell you need to go ahead on either lose your license for a year, or they're gonna tell you to blow. That's the thing. And then they could take your blood and do it that way too. But if you refuse, that's just a year, straight out a year, no driving. But if you get caught, it's more money. I mean, it's more time away from your license. So I think if you did drink, and you know you just caught, they got you, man. Like you in the bear's trap and you ain't getting free. Like just flat out refuse it and you don't get your license. But I'm gonna tell you this: if you lose your license as a CDL, like they'll be like, oh, we'll downgrade you to a C. No, you lose your license for the whole time the license is gone. That means you're gonna be Ubering, busing, bicycling, or driving dirty for a long time. So you ain't gonna be able to register no cars and all that. Well, no. So just know before you get your license, if you're gonna be doing drugs or anything like that and partying, man, this is like if you work for a big company, they're gonna be jumping. They got something called random tests. All it takes is one person to whisper to somebody, and you become the random person getting tested. And unless you got some fake urine and all that, but anyway, I'm leaving all that alone. Just so you know that, because most people don't know that. Okay, now after you go and take those 3 tests, it should be 3 tests: air brakes, general knowledge, and some other tests or something like that you got to take. I think it's like 3 tests, maybe 4, I don't know. But you take those 3 tests, that give you something called a CLIP, which is a commercial learner's permit. Get that commercial learner's permit, and that enables you to go practice driving. At that time, you got 2 choices. You could do what you want to. You can just go on to a place, walk up to a truck industry and be like, hey, I want to work here. And you just work for them. And you just chill on, you just go there and you work for them. They'll pay for you to go to school. They'll probably ship you somewhere far away. After you get your license, they're going to put you in there with a trainer. The trainer is going to make a crap ton of money off of you. Basically, you're going to do the driving and he's going to do the back end. Basically, sometimes that's basically what happens. Or he might go and let you do the back end of her. But basically, you're going to be sitting, there's 2 bunks on the back of it, and you probably going to be on the top because he's got more seniority. He's going to be on the bottom, and that's how that's going to run. And what that does is probably get teams out of it. So it's probably the company's making more money because teams, you can't make money off of teams because you ain't got your license yet. So that way you get a lot of experience, which is cool. You get a whole lot of experience. When you get there, and then you can't go work for nobody else. If you go work for somebody else, you owe them money for all the money that they spent training you to get your license. So that's why I say in this world, I've come to realize that I was going to be, since I made the last video, I was going to be a truck driver instructor. But when I got up there and started talking to the examiner and working with the examiner, I don't like being micromanaged. I don't like to micromanage people myself. I'm more like a person, figure it out. If you need my help, ask me. That's how I totally felt about it. They want you to tell them every little bitty Kit Kat, little bitty spit, and the whole time you running your mouth. To me, if I cannot learn while you're talking to me. So, like, it's more like, let me try. I make a mistake, park the truck, explain to me what I did wrong. Don't try to tell me what I did wrong while I'm already practicing backwards in the other way, because I'm not going to listen to what you got to say, or I'm not going to pay attention to what I'm doing backing. So with me, it drove me bananas to hear the instructors just run their mouth the whole damn time. Oh, it freaking drove me bananas. But some people need that. Okay, the other thing is that when you go, if you get to, you could choose, you can go pay. So I paid $800, and I'm glad I did. I live in the country, so there's no telling what's going on out there. But I decided to pay $800. I went to a loan place, and I just said, I'm tired of waiting. I was in the WIA waiting program. That's another thing. If you can't afford to do it, you can go through the WIA program in Texas. Other states, when I was in Ohio, they had something similar to the WIA program. Basically, it's a program to where if you're on basically on food stamps and this, that, the other, or unemployment, you can go there and tell them, hey, look, I want to be retrained. In your life, if you tired of making McDonald's money or making Burger King money or working retail money, go get retrained. Go spend the money that it will take to get retrained, because you're going to make that money back. And at least when you do work, you're going to get paid a lot more money. It's a lot easier to go to work for somebody when you know at the end of the week you're going to get $1,000 at the end of the week. So that's a come up. Because some people don't even make $1,000 a week, and you work 2 weeks, and most of these truckers and other people, not even the truckers, getting paid $2,000 a week doing certain other little things, not even driving. But driving is one good way you can make $2,000, dang near $1,500 a week. Low balling, the lowest I heard is 8. And so anyway, I'm explaining to you what I did and what I'm doing and why I'm doing it this way. So another thing, okay, you go ahead on and you go, you move to another thing to where you go to the school. Like I paid $800. I went to them, they trained me. I went to go take the test and I failed at the parallel. And what it was is when you go train somewhere, make sure they have enough cones. I went to a little Mexican place. They had all their cones, but the dude, they've been doing it so long, they can't understand what it's like to be a new driver. That's the problem. You got to have an instructor that knows what it's like to be a new driver. If they've been driving for 40, 50 years, and now they're trying to teach somebody that they know, they're not going to remember back what it was like when they were young and wet behind the years. So you got to have like an instructor. Like I had a young instructor. I requested a young instructor to teach me because I had an older instructor, and this thing, he was really good, but he had broken English. And the other dude the other Mexican guy was a young guy, and he spoke damn good English. But the problem with him, he used jargon the whole time. Like, you want to keep your walls in your mirror. Look. You want to keep your walls in your mirror, and your convex mirror, like using all these jargon terms. Like, okay, well, I'm gonna tell you how to remember that too. But like, really, it's somebody that's just now learning the truck or something like that. You don't got time to hear a bunch of jargon. Make sure that the side of the trailer stays basically in front of your cab of your truck, and then back up. And if you see your trailer start to drift off, make a decision which way you want your trailer to go, and then turn the wheel the opposite way that you want the trailer to go, and it will go. Or put your hands on the bottom of the steering wheel and push the direction that you want the trailer to go, and the trailer will go. If it's a little pup trailer, it's going to whip real quick. If it's one of them big old trailers, it's going to take its time. Are you ever going to turn? Before you know it, it's going to turn. So anyway, get from that. If you go to these little schools, make sure they have enough cones. The school I went to, they just basically backed the truck up to about 4 cones on both sides, and then they told you to stop, which is good to get you to get in the gate. Which is good to get you to go in the gate, but you're going to have to back that truck up all the way back. All the way back. And you're going to have to pass all these cones, and you need practice. You're not going to get it with the couple of cones, because the other place I went to, like later on, I actually went to a truck driving school. And apparently people were looking for them to steal their cones. And at the end of the day, after teaching, they got so tired of picking up all the cones, they would leave the cones. Well, guess what? There was people waiting to get them cones. And the school didn't have any cones. And I got flat out mad one time. I ran over a cone. But the cones are made of like some kind of leather, latex, rubber stuff. And when the cold came in, it froze them. And like I say, they left them out. And then that's what? Well, so when you hit them, they just crumbled. But it was just so cold. So they make sure they have enough cones. Like, just make sure that the school that you go to, make sure they ask them, do you have automatic trucks or do you have standard trucks? Because guess what? When you go to take your test, if you drive in a standard shifting gears, you have to double clutch, by the way. So you need to learn to double clutch. You don't need a restriction to drive automatics. You get no restrictions. You just get in the truck, and no matter if you got to shift it or if you got an automatic, it don't matter. You could drive it. But if you get an automatic, you cannot drive a car with a shifter. Hold on a second. Let me go find out what this barking is. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Okay. So, all right. So make sure they have a they let you know what you got. I went to the dang school. I thought they were going to have automatics or they were going to have standards. This is the other thing. Before you go to the class, you need to look at videos on how you're going to be tested. You're going to have a pull forward past the cones, and you're going to back up. Depending on the school, they may have you pull up and back pull up and then do an offset, or pull up to go to the other lane, drop back in, and that's your backup, your straight backing. Or they could make you do an offset backing. Like they could just do different kind of things. Make sure you know how they're going to be doing it. You're going to be tested, but there's a difference between getting tested by a third-party tester and getting tested by the DPS. And there's also a difference in getting tested by a DPS examiner. I call them basically, they're all examiners. They're the person that signed off for you getting a license. There are some examiners, from my experience, that work for the DPS, and they are friends, maybe not quasi-friends, with the company that you hired, and that's why I'm going to get into that. If you decide to go the route where you're just going to, like me, I went and got a loan, I paid $800, and then they basically took me out 5 days a week for so many hours. They showed me how to back. They helped me with my pre-trip. They took me to the path of what's going to be the testing, like the testing path, like where you're going to be driving to doing the test. So there's no surprise curves. There's no and the other thing is, make sure you really get to know when you do get to drive the truck, you're going to drive the truck the first day. Most likely you're going to drive the truck in the yard the first couple of days, or the first day they had me drive the truck out. And it had a little bitty trailer on the back of it that was called a pup trailer. And they had me in there, and it was automatic, and I just had to get used to it. This is what I'm trying to tell you. When you do take the test and you start practicing your backing, there's going to be something called blindside backing. You can only use the mirrors. This is what I'm going to tell you. Get out the truck and look around. You get out the truck, make sure your back is facing, your front is facing toward the steering wheel, and your back is facing out the truck, and that's how you get out. And you have to use 3 points of stance, 3 points of contact. If you don't, you fail. If you're doing an automatic truck thing, you can't shift over railroad tracks. Automatic fail. You can't coast for more than 100 feet. If you don't keep fighting, if you've already almost at like 99 feet, pretend like it's in gear and stop it at the light. Because if you coast for them and you're still struggling, they're not going to know if it's already in gear or not, unless you're really doing something stupid. Okay, so my friends want me to get online. So we'll tell him, okay. Okay, so then also the other thing is you cannot, when you do the air brake tests, you have to do the air brake test perfectly. Now, if you got a third-party examiner, they might let you slide. And if you have a state examiner that's in cahoots with the people that hire you, I mean, not the people that hire you, but the people that you hired, they'll give you a little bit too. Or sometimes the examiner might be feeling good that day and they might let you go. But if they want to fail you because you forgot to pull your brakes out or whatever, or forgot to put your chalk down or whatever you need to do. So this is the other thing I'm going to tell you. Before you even set foot in the school, before you even go to the school, call or attend the thing, go to them and say, what is the stuff I need to know before class? Do you have any writing? You want them to tell you if they got a formula for their truck, have them tell you the formula of their truck, and you study. You may not know exactly what it is, what they mean by turn on the mark or get three quarters of the landing gear, but still learn the ditties and learn everything before you go there. Learn what you're going to be going in the test, so you got an idea of what you're going to be doing during the test. And when you do test, you're paying. If you're paying them to like me, I paid $100. You tell them, you say, look, I want to do offset backing at least 8 times. I don't want to go straight line backing, offset backing, parallel. No, I don't want to do that. Let me master backing first, then let me bury offset, then lastly let me do parallel, because they will just let you do all those together and you'll be lost in the sauce. But no matter how they train me, the first time I almost passed, just goofing around in the truck trying to figure it out. If do not give up, you are allowed to fail 3 times on your tests. Okay, so you get 3 road test fails, you get 3 parallel. I mean 3 maneuver tests until you fail, and then you get 3 chances to do the in cab, like the in cab and all, and then the stuff around the truck. When you go to these places to do the truck, you have to know what everything is on the truck. You have to know what everything is on the truck. You have to know what everything is on the truck. You need to know if you pull aside a card, what does that mean? Which is a cab. I don't want to get into exactly what it is, but you need to know. You need to know, like under the truck. Okay, you need to know a cotter key. You need to know. You need to know what they're going to tell you when you go there. They're going to tell you, they're going to have you pop the truck, pop the hood, or they may tell you to climb under the truck or point under the truck and tell them and inspect the wheels of the truck. You very well could get a card called the D card where you have to do the entire truck, and most of the instructors are not want to sit through the whole damn thing. They might tell you to pull another card. So, in other words, what I'm saying is there's videos on YouTube, and it's called pre-trip. You need to look at those videos like they're your favorite porno, like they're your favorite movie that you've seen in your life that you can watch over and over again. You need to literally, when I tell you literally recite what they say word for word. The more you sound just like that video, or like the video, they probably gonna send you a video and they might give you a printout. They should have a printout of everything word for word that you need to know. Because guess what? In the tire, there's a whole bunch of stuff on the tire that you need to know. Like there's ways to cheat, like ABS, abrasions, bumps, and cuts. That's for all rubbers. PMS, properly mounted and secured. Everything on the truck is properly mounted and secured. You like my windshield is properly mounted and secured. There's no cracks. And there's no illegal stickers. You don't want to be stuttering or anything. You just want to say it quickly, and then let them check it off and get to the next one. They just want to get done. The examiner wants to get done and get to the next one so they can go back and drink their coffee or go find their old lady or whatever they want to do with their free time. So just go ahead on and know it. Don't go up there acting like go up there stumbling. Think you can actually know it. What's wrong with you, dog? But anyway, don't act like you know it. You need to know it. Do not and that's before you go to school. Now, if you really got a little bit of it, go on and go to the school. If you got like 80%, then finish it at the school. But I'm trying to tell you that 1 week that you at the school I went to, it was a week of just studying the paperwork. And sometimes I glanced over it. But when I got in that truck, I'm gonna tell you what, it was so hard because I didn't know the material. So you need to learn the material. There's a paper. If they're gonna give you a packet, if it's a good school, and you study it. You study you're not allowed to drive the truck for your test if you can't pass the pre-trip. So number 1, learn to pass the pre-trip. You're gonna have number 2. You need to be able to do your air brakes. If you don't know how to do the air brakes, you're wasting your time. You need to learn every little step in the air brakes. And if you go online, they'll show you. Now look. They don't do static testing anymore. So that static testing is you pull the brakes and you wait a minute. They don't do that no more. Or push the brakes in and you wait a minute. They don't do that no more. You can still do it, but the video, that's an old video. So they're going to know you're looking at an old video. But it's okay. But at the same time, you really want to know. But that person going to be looking at you dumb like this, like, why you got to wait a whole minute on something we don't even have to test? And he can't just say, we already got to test. And don't think that they don't know the test. That's all they do all day is sit in that truck and listen to everybody ramble on what they need to know. So don't go up there. Now, if you get up there and you need to, let's say you already scheduled your test, because we already know DPS is backed up. You already scheduled your test. And you know what I'm saying? Just go on up there and do it. I say go on up there and do it and do the best you can, because you may look out and get, this is how it works. Let's say you're not really ready, but you go there to test. You go there and you pass the free trip. Well, that's out the way. You don't got to worry about practice free trips no more. Now you go to your backing. You go to your backing and you fell on your backing. So they tell you come back and you got to reschedule another day. So now you know what it's like to do the pre-trip, even if you failed. So you know what it's like to be in front of the examiner, and it just eases your anxiety. So if you need to go ahead on and take the test, like let's you schedule the test, so they already done schedule for a test. They say in a week you're gonna test. That's what it was when I went to one school, both schools. Like they told me to get a date, and then they scheduled me before those dates to go take the test. And both schools basically did that. Um, when you go to these schools, pay attention to the instructor. The instructors may be snappy, whatever like that. I befriended my instructor, but I know I probably pissed him off at the end because I didn't want to work there, because I just didn't want to live in that world no more. I got my license. It's just like in real life. You get your license, and now if you want to unbutton your belt and lean back on the seat like this and drive, you could do it. Like you can't do that with the examiner. An examiner, you got to have both hands on the wheels. You can't let the wheel spin in your hands. You can't let go of the wheel. You got to do hand over hand when you turn it, and hand over hand when it returns back. Like the instructor's probably gonna give you a couple of things that work. I suggest if you got truck driver friends, listen to what they say. They taking the test. They give you some phenomenal things to listen to. All right. If you study the paperwork before you take the test, and then you go there, and every day you need to practice your pre-trip. Every time you need to go, and somebody needs to check you off, need to present their examiner. And if you do that every day in 5 days or 2 weeks, 5 days is usually what they've been doing. But 2 weeks, you will know that truck in and out. And that way, when you get up there, you just relax. They're relaxed. And when you tell the people, you relax and you talk to them. All right, I'm gonna begin my pre-trip. I'm gonna start at the top of the truck. At the top of the truck, I have I have my clearance light, amber in color. They are not cracked or broken. They're properly mounted and secured. Below that, I have my windshield, properly mounted and secured. There are no illegal stickers. I noticed that my bus or truck are not leaning and no leaks under the bottoms. I'm gonna be checking it off. My windshield wipers. My windshield wipers, they work, and the rubber on my windshield wipers, they are not they're not bold, they're not bruised, cut, or just go through your spiel. What's going on over there? But you just go through your spiel like talk real smooth and relax. Relax. Because that's gonna make them relax. And if you're relaxed, your brain is gonna work a lot better. You just talk to the whole thing, you get done, and the examiner's gonna relax, and then guess what? It's gonna be kind of relaxing for them because they're gonna feel your stress the whole time. They're gonna be feeling your stress. So just relax. I had my instructor so relaxed, he took a break and went up and pissed somewhere. It's like, where's the dude going? You're gonna have to do an in cab. You're gonna have to do air brakes, and no matter what card you pull, then you're gonna have to do the I forgot what it's called, the fifth wheel. Crap. You're gonna have to do your like your slot, your apron, and your kingpin. You're gonna have to do your skid plate. You're gonna have to do all that. All that. There's no light. You're gonna have to do all of that. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called the fifth wheel. But you need to do all of that. You need to you're gonna have to do that no matter what. You may pull a card and it may be the cab. You could pull it and it may be the under the truck, like the under the hood. Okay. So all right, we're done talking about that. When you go to take your test, like I'm trying to say, relax. Make sure you don't drink before the test. Don't eat a lot of sugar before the test. Make sure you get plenty of rest before the test. Make sure you gotta relax. You need to study hard, but at the same time, not study too hard. But most of the day, like 12 hours of that day, you need to be studying that truck, because it's gonna come a time where you're not gonna study that truck no more. You're just gonna drive it. When you do your driving, just remember you're pulling the trailer. Remember you're pulling the trailer. The instructor is going to make sure you don't run nobody over, and if they tell you stop, and if you don't listen to them and do your own thing, I'm going to tell you what they're going to do. They're going to reach over and they're going to pull your brakes, and your truck is going to stop, and it's going to be a rough stop. So listen to what they say and trust your instructor. Remember, your truck driving is not a professional field. Like, hello, today we're going to be talking about the fifth wheel. No. you're gonna actually the instructors are gonna probably be real with you. Like they're gonna be just like truck drivers that you went in and saw with a truck driver. Like I was an instructor for a day, and they decided to throw me to the women, and I was very respectful, and I made sure, and I listened to every question they said and all that, but I didn't like the way the examiner kept pressuring me. I'm not pressuring the students, but the examiner is pressuring me, and I'm like, I don't like to be micromanaged. I don't like to be pushed. I don't have gray hair. I'm 42 years old. I got no gray hair, and I'm not gonna start right now. So I quit. I'm like, I'm not gonna work somewhere else. And before I can retrain him on how he could train me, I'll just go somewhere else where people used to doing it. But they were it was too much. So, but anyway, so that day I was a trainer, and they want me to stay there to work, but I'm sorry, I couldn't deal with it. I just can't deal with a lot of stress like that. As far as somebody else, not like supposedly my boss, literally micromanaging and get mad at me what the people are doing. Nah, bro. I'm sorry. The Marine Corps. I'm out the Marine Corps. I'm done. I'm sorry. Um, if you when you get out, let's say you get out of the school. When you get out of the school, like if you go, they're gonna give you a certificate, and you're gonna go take your test. And you get done with your test. If you make it that far, I'm gonna tell you this. I noticed one of my these girls was out there, and she kept taking a test, and she was that close to passing, but because she was gay, the examiner was like, he really didn't want to pass her. And from now right now I knew that examiner. I'm not gonna tell you what school or whatever like that, but that examiner, it was because I think between me and you, the fifth post, I could have failed my test because I was barely like you could have like the truck could have blowed and it could have went over the cone. You could have cranked the truck up and and it could have went over the threshold. I was that close, and I think she was that close too. But the thing about it is that I'm not. When I went there, I dressed professional. I like white women, but when I was there, I made sure nobody knew I like white women. When I was there, I was respectful. You didn't know nothing about me. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, sir. No, sir. I still cracked jokes, but I made sure when I was with the guys, I was with the guys. But when the girls were around, I was still having fun with the girls, but I was still professional. I dressed professional. I talked professional. Like I showed up for class on time every day. Like it was a girl that was in the class. It was this black lady that was in the class, and she was so stressed out, stressed out. She's like, I can't do this, and the instructor would be yelling at her. But you got to realize you driving a huge truck, and if you make a mistake, you can kill somebody, or you could break the truck. If you break the truck, that means that nobody can use that to train. We only had 2 trucks that ran, so they're really trying to say, look, you break the truck, the instructor's not going to be able to work. Whoever's behind you that needs to drive, they're not going to be able to drive. Who knows how long it's going to take the truck? So they really are pressuring you, and they're going to say these words, just like that for a truck driver. It's like that for a truck driver. You need to be able to multitask as a truck driver. So she hurt my feelings because she's like, I'm not coming to class tomorrow. She didn't come to class. So we only had to do 4 days, and each day was 10-hour days. But between you and me, that we didn't really do 10 hours because I couldn't drive. One time I drove so much one day, I was like, my brain stopped working. He goes, are you with me? And I'm like, I just looked at him and I'm like, okay. And it took me a second, and then I start shifting gears again because we drove for so long. And if you ain't never shifted gears and you're driving hours and 3-4 hours, you trust me, it'll take a toll on you. But now, shoot, I can do it now. But in the beginning, so I'm saying this to say this. If you're scheduled for 10 hours and your instructor wants to go a little bit early, tell your instructor, I'll pull over and can I practice my gears? That's another thing. Practice your gear pattern. You can pop the clutches, you can pop the brakes because there's no parking brakes on the truck. You can pop the brakes. And then those hold the trucks. You got one on the trailer and you got one in the cab, and you can push the clutch in and you can practice your gear shift. Also, you could turn the truck off, chalk your wheels if you're on a whatchamacallit, or really you can just pop the thing too and practice, but it's not the same as the truck running. That way you know the gear pattern. You should be able to go up, down, and down, back, and then even practice skipping a few. Just make it to where it's easy. If you don't have access to a truck, there's a piece of paper, draw reverse. Like I was on the 10 speed, so reverse 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you flip the toggle up and you go back to first, and first is now 6. And it's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th. And if you need to downshift, flip the switch down, 9, 8, 7, 6, flip, go back. But you gotta learn the gas shift, and you gotta learn to use the tachometer. The tachometer is your friend. If there's a video, stop. So there's a video on a tachometer. You have to shift during certain times. Now, if you listen like me, when I was in the Marine Corps, we shifted by listening to the motor. We didn't really use the tachometer if we were supposed to. So I got used to hearing that motor, and that's how I could shift. But in these big rigs, they're not synchronized. So in a car, you can almost shift any time because the transmission in the engine is synchronized. So they're always spinning at the same time, and where you can get the gears. Now in the tractor trailer, one is maybe doing one thing and the other is doing another, and those gears are not going to match up. So you have to, when you press the clutch in, it stops the mechanical parts from spinning so that you can take off. So when you're actually shifting, you only want to go 2 to 3 inches in. And the timing is tap, tap, shift, 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 shift. And the reason why you're doing that is your speedometer, as you go out from the next, let's say you can only shift between, I think it's 10, like to upshift is 13. So you have to rev the motor to go up to, but you got to practice. So practice that before you get in the truck. But I'm trying to tell you, look at the videos and all that, and you'll be fine. You just look at the video, and then when you shift, your shift arm and your clutch leg moves at the same time. You're gonna clutch to go out of gear and clutch to go into gear. And basically, when this arm moves, this leg moves. You can sit in a chair and you can get going, and you can even go as far as tying a belt on your ankle or your leg, and then kick it, like act like you're pushing. You're only gonna push in 2 to 3 inches. And the gear shift pattern is only like this long. So you think when you look at the thing, it's going to be this far, but it's only this thing. But you need to be practicing it. And if you miss gears, you need to be able to miss. If you do decide to drive the other trucks, you need to shift the gears. You have to put it at the gate and rev it up. And then when it falls back down, these revs it to 15. And when it falls to 13, I promise you to go right in. Like it's that simple. But getting used to that, to climb, you tap, tap. You hit the clutch to come out of there. That's one tap. And then the other tap is putting it in gear. When you do the other one, it's slow down. When you're decelerating or you're shifting down, you're slowing down to the RPMs. And the RPMs are, if you're going 35 miles an hour, you add the two numbers together. So 35 is 35. You take the 3 and the 5 and 35, you add them together, and that will give you 5, 6, 7, 8. So that tells you if you're going 35 miles an hour, you need to be in 8th gear. So if you're going 25 miles an hour, that lets you know that 5, 6, 7, that's 7th gear. If you're going 55 miles an hour, what's 5 plus 5? That's 10 gears. Or you could just count the up from like start at 25 and then go and give them each number, the number, and come up, and then you will literally know what your speed is. But it will only go into certain gears at certain speeds. And if it does go in at certain speeds, you have to make sure that it's at the sweet spot, is usually 13 for downshifting, and I think 10 below 10 for upshifting. Okay. Good luck. Just look at the video. There's a video out there, and it goes. If you guys keep complaining to me, I'll put the video in the description box below, and then and find it. But there's a really good guy that does the shifting. And if you understand that video with the guy shifting, you will have no problems. Like you'll learn to shift like a pro. Like your first day, like you'll be shifting like a pro. Once you get out and you get out in the real world, you want to work somewhere. If you decide to go with the fleet like Swift or any of those other guys, they're going to already have you working, blah, 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 blah. If you decide to go work somewhere else, Me, I run a martial art business and I like to sing. I don't want my whole life to be truck driving. So what I did was I was two jobs that I've already applied for. And both of them are the kind of jobs to where you just go. You got local drivers, and then you have regional drivers, and then you have over the road drivers. So your local drivers, those are the guys that are just going to go around the town. Like for instance, me local might be to me like I'm close to Dallas, so that made me drive from Dallas, go to Houston, and come back and park the truck. Regional maybe we're gonna go to Oklahoma and come back, or another neighboring state and come back. And then over the road is like you're gonna be gone a long time. Like you're gonna probably be home maybe every other week or something like that, or maybe never. Team driving, they make a shit ton of money. That's the only way you can explain it to it. I have one friend, she goes and she comes back with bukus of money and she gets plastic surgery. Another friend of mine who does team drivers get all his money and he takes out women, and he goes and he acts like he's rich. He just goes and he buys people drinks and just act like he's rich, and just he throws that money around and everybody think he's rich. But when he gets done, he's kind of broke, and he gets back in the truck and he makes it all over again by a week. So you got to decide what you want to do. When you do drive the truck, you got to watch what you eat. I've seen people drive themselves to death. I've seen truck drivers go from nothing. A guy down the street from me, he had nothing, and all of a sudden he had a house, he had a car, he had a truck, he had this, he had got everything he ever wanted. But he never really took care of himself while he was driving, and he said he got the flu shot and it knocked it down, and a year later he was dead, and they were having to stay still. So like when you run these trucks, you got to take care of your stuff. You got to exercise and you got to eat right. I mean, it's just something you got to do. So make sure that you exercising and you eating right. Really, if you exercise, even if you eating right, like it's gonna help a lot. And you're gonna have to move around a little bit. You may have to drive the truck and then get out and walk or something like that, and get your heart up, or heart rate. I think you get 30 minutes for break. My friend, she told me you get 30 minutes for break. So doing that 30 minutes, you might need to walk maybe 10 minutes or something, or just something to keep your body up, because you're just not gonna be able to just sit in that chair and shift them gears and just get them pedals and then call it even. It's just not gonna happen. Your body's gonna wear and tear. You need to stay on top of all your doctor visits, your appointments. You need to stay on top of your love life. You need to do all that stuff. All right, I think I covered everything. But this time I made sure that you could see. I watched so I didn't get mute, and I got to talk about more stuff. But if you're going to truck driving school, oh yeah, timing. If you go to a regular Swift or something like that, you go into them, they gonna probably have you driving for a month. Like you're gonna be in school for a month. If you go to some of these other schools, you could be done as far as a week. You can rent a truck from anywhere from $800 to $1,100, and then they'll give you a crash course. And there's places you can go where if you attempt to parallel park, you pass. There's other places where you go, but you better get in the box. So make sure you know the people that know all these little cheats. The trucks are going to have cheat sheets on it. It's illegal to have those stickers and stuff on the truck to tell you when to turn and tell you when to go back the other way. But basically, if I was you, I would get a toy truck and I would back it up the toy truck so you can see how a truck has to move to back up. If you notice, it's going to be like that. All right, thank y'all so much. And go for it. I say at least give yourself 2 weeks. If you all right, y'all have a great day. Hope this helps you.